Oh, I'm always fixing my camera right when we start. I fixed it yesterday. Uh, that'll have to do for today. Hello, hello. Excuse me. And welcome to yet another Saturday, a soothing Saturday of Pepper Plays. We're going to hit the chessboard one last Saturday. I think that marks what we've been playing. This is the fourth Saturday we've been playing chess.
It is.
Yeah. So I hope everyone's had a nice week. I know Diva's been watching um, NL play chess, right?
Yep.
NL is Northern Lion. Do most people just abbreviate and say NL, or is that just me?
Sure.
So, well, because there's NL and LF, right? Lethal Frag. You watch?
Nobody calls him LF. I think that's weird.
I call
Yeah, you do.
him Lethal. Lethal Frag is another streamer that Diva enjoys on the regular. But NL's been playing a lot of chess lately, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And what is his tier?
He plays at roughly a 1500 rating,
Oh,
which is pretty good.
that is pretty good. Isn't that what you play? Do you play it about that?
No.
What do you
No.
play?
Against real people, probably between 800 and 1000.
Oh,
If I'm doing well.
I was just taking my calcium. Just had my brunch. Took my vitamins. I take calcium, not because I'm old, but because I can't eat dairy. And yes, there are other vegetables and things that have calcium in them. I know.
Don't forget to
Just,
wander your mouse over to your chessboard so we can see it.
oh, right. Here it is. My chessboard. I'm playing Emir. He has a very dashing beard and suspenders. Gives him a very European feel. Isn't that where is he supposedly from there?
I have no idea what that flag is.
Like it's
Iran, maybe?
Turkey.
Iraq? Turkey. There you
It's
go.
Turkey. He's Turkish. Oh, I got me some super new yummy Earl Grey strong tea. It is delightful. I am a weird tea drinker. A lot of people, steep their tea and then take the tea bag out. I leave it in the whole time I drink it. It's delightful. I love every bit of it. I love my Earl Grey. All right. Took my vitamins, ate my brunch. What did we have for brunch? Since nobody asked. I made waffles. Not entirely from scratch, but I use Bob's Red Mill 7-grain mix that I like a lot. Oh, that was delicious. Would you agree, Diva?
Yes.
Waffles were delicious. 2 eggs, over easy. Fruit, love my berries. Delightful. Some fake vegan butter, some maple syrup, some bacon. It's a hearty breakfast. We don't eat, obviously, when we say brunch, we don't eat lunch today. We just kind of ate lunch today. So, all right. I don't know any other opening moves. So I'm just going to stick with my opening pawn move. Is it always better sometimes to move the pawn the 2 spaces initially?
Well, you have to actually start the game first.
Well, am I not the white piece? Don't I start?
No, you're choosing which computer to play against.
Oh, I thought I chose him. Oh, well, I'll choose Amir. I like the friendly games. Those are nice.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. Salam. My kids think I'm a grandmaster. Don't tell them otherwise. Well, I have no one to tell, so I'm not anywhere near that level of chess playing. Oh, pardon me. So, but yeah, back to my question. Is it better to do that?
It usually is. A lot of the book openings are usually one of your C through F pawns moving 2 spaces.
D4 is a book move. Thank you, computer.
Let's see, queen's pawn opening. Mostly because like moving your D and E pawns are fun to start with because it frees up your bishops.
Oh, right on. Well, then I'll do this.
That is the Deemer Gambit.
Ah, right. I just didn't even think about that he was gonna do that.
Which is, I mean, like this is all book.
Right. Textbook.
Like that little pawn trade is book moves.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Farts. Farts is my go-to foul word. I say it a lot. Can imply whatever you want it to. It's just a general farts. Farts, did he farts? Okay, so now at this point, I've moved out some pawns. He's taken a pawn. Is it better to just keep moving pawns, or is it better to move out a knight or a bishop? Like strategy-wise. Like we don't necessarily have to teach me how to play. I got my cheat sheet here, and I understand, but I don't always see moves the way that, a probably a regular chess player would see moves. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yep.
Like I
At this
didn't
point,
see the pawn taking my pawn. Like you probably saw that, and I should have just moved him one space. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna go for two and see what happens. Now I know what
so
happens.
the problem with moving in one space, A, is it's not book move. Oh, it's probably a book move. It backs up your D pawn, but it also completely blocks your C bishop.
Right, right
So
from that
it's
flow.
not that it's a bad move, but like those are the consequences for those would be the
Hmm.
consequences for only moving at one instead of two.
Right, right on. And so, like I asked before, is now what is a better strategy now to open the game up? Is it to move a knight or a bishop, or just keep moving pawns up out of the way?
I mean, generally you want to try to free as many pieces as you can because it's very easy to end up behind a pawn wall, and then none of your pieces can go anywhere.
Right on.
Um, and then you can fall victim to like the scholar's mate,
What's
which is
that?
it's the shortest checkmate in chess. It's like four
Oh,
moves.
oh,
Um, yeah, it's funky, but it's fun.
oh, my B4 was an inaccuracy.
Yeah, it's gonna get annoyed with you at moving random pawns with no backup into random places.
Now, why move the queen? Like what?
I don't know. You're gonna ask questions about
I
what the
know.
computer does, and it's impossible to know
Why isn't that an inaccuracy?
because the computer is not analyzing itself.
I disagree. Our dogs are chewing on unrawhide thingies. So they're not made of rawhide, which is a horrible thing. And I can't believe they still make them. And I can't believe people still feed them to their dogs, which is terrible. See the internet for answers as to why they're terrible. I don't want to move you there because then your pawn could take my. So I was looking at moving my knight out, but then that pawn could take my knight, and that is a bad trade.
It's a bad trade.
No bueno. And the queen can't do a whole lot to me, and right, because if I move my knight out here, she's not going to be able to do anything
Correct.
exciting.
But that move also threatens the queen.
Right, 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 right. Oh, right, because I could have taken her if she didn't move.
Correct.
Hey, thanks, Kelly, for the like. Thanks for tuning in while we play some chess. We're just passing by. It's very nice. Thank you. Okay. I moved out a knight. Hmm. Oh, that was a blunder. Why is that a blunder?
So you just moved a pawn out to the middle of nowhere with no real protection, and it doesn't protect you from anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wants you to move your F bishop up to B to threaten the queen. So what it wanted you to do. So if you look at this is pretty. I wouldn't
Uh-huh.
say advanced, but it's certainly a like you really have to understand the pieces. So if you look at where your C file knight can go,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
um,
right on.
so your knight can go to B5 or D5,
Right.
and your F file bishop can also go to C or to B5. And so if you moved your bishop to B5, it's being protected by
My
the knight.
knight. Right on.
And so that's what the computer wanted you to do. I don't know if that would necessarily be a best move.
Well, because then the queen's just going to take the bishop. Oh, no,
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 because then
because
you
the
could take it
knight.
with the
Right.
knight.
Okay. Oh,
But it does sort of leave your bishop out there, and then he just moves his queen. And I guess you could do a bishop trade, but like I'm not quite sure what the point of
the bishop trade is.
yeah,
Bum, bum,
other than
bum.
eliminating your white square bishop.
Right.
Unless they blundered and didn't see that either your knight was protecting the bishop or that the queen was under threat.
Well, then what's the point of moving the bishop out?
Well, now I don't know, but that's what it wanted you to do.
Well, that's what it wanted me to do, and then it moved its own bishop out.
Yeah.
Just a space, though.
You're already asking questions about what the computer is doing, and I'm not going to be able to answer any of them
Oh,
because the computer is an enigma.
you're.
Sometimes it does stuff, and you're like,
I
"What?"
know we've watched it do stuff and do unpredictable moves. You're just like,
And
I thought
so,
you were just going to take that piece, and then it does something completely different.
yeah. So I'm assuming it moved it there to back up the queen, although the queen's already being protected by a pawn and a knight. So like, I don't know.
Right.
This seems like an odd move.
Oh, pardon me. Hmm. So now what would be, should I just go ahead and move my bishop there?
That's up to you.
Ugh, whatever. Chess is hard, yo.
Chess is difficult. Yes.
So you're saying, so the computer is saying I should move my bishop there.
You should have last turn. Yes.
Last turn, I should have moved my bishop there. For
Yeah.
those watching now or later, now or later. I never liked now and laters. Did you ever like now and laters?
I don't know what in the world you're talking about.
They're a candy. It was kind of like a weird taffy. Ugh. But it was really hard. I don't know. I never liked them.
Good talk.
I know, right? Weird named candy things from my youth. Just got all nostalgic. Could take this pawn, but then the queen could just take my knight.
Yep.
That's
Which
new.
would also put your king in check.
Oh, which would be no bueno. But I could move my knight over here.
You could.
Nope, nope. I don't want to misclick. I've done that every game at least once. So I could move my knight there.
Yes.
When we move my queen out. Oh, as an alternative. To what? D2?
Yeah, just wanted to move up one. That's weird.
That is weird. Seems arbitrary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Farts. Farts and farts and farts and farts.
But it said your move was the best, so that's pretty good.
Hmm.
I do, however, have no idea where it wants you to go now.
Right? I'm gonna move pawn.
So
Oh,
you're looking at the alternative timeline,
right. Oh,
not the
right
one that
on.
actually happened.
I heard that. Oh, it wants me to move a pawn. This guy.
B5. Oh, it wants you to attack the queen with your pawn.
That sounds like fun.
Wrong pawn, but
What
it's
pawn? No,
fine.
it wasn't.
It wanted you to move your B pawn. B5 is best
Oh.
to actually threaten the queen, because your A file pawn would not have threatened the queen.
Oh.
Like there was no way for it to get somewhere.
Well, that was dumb. That's my own fault because I read the little tiny board incorrectly. So, she gonna take my knight here?
Which could, although your knight's being guarded by your other knight.
Right, 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 right. Mm. I don't have a whole lot of options right now, do I?
Not really. See, this is the issue with running your pawns forward, is now all of your other pieces are sort of trapped.
Over one, down two. Nope. Well, that knight really can't go a whole lot anywhere. Hmm. Should I move this pawn out so I can get my bishop out, or?
I mean, right now that whole light side diagonal is sort of guarded by their bishop. So unless you really want to do a bishop trade.
Oh, right on. I forgot he can move wherever in that diagonal. Fart, did he fart, fart, farts? And the ends of my fingers are really dry and scaly. A little moisturizer. Callousy, scaly, I don't know. Hmm. Well, yeah, there's not much point in moving my C-file bishop, right?
Yeah. Not a lot going on the dark squares.
I can really only move my queen up one, right?
Yep. Unless you really want it to be taken.
Do not. Oh, that was an inaccuracy. What n? Knight to A2?
Wanted you to run your knight back. Although I don't know why either, because that seems odd. Doesn't really develop anything.
Hmm. Fart and fart and fart. What's going on over there? Dogs chewing things. Keeps them occupied so they don't bark at stuff. But make no mistake, if there's something to bark at, they will. Because dogs, right?
Yep.
Because dogs. Farts and farts and farts and farts. I don't know what to do. Because there's really nowhere to move my C file bishop, and I can't move my F file bishop. So I thought about moving my G file pawn. You're not going to tell me anything, are you?
No. If you have a question, I will answer the question, but I'm not going to tell
Uh-huh.
you what to do.
I see how it is. Just inaccuracy. What, knight to g3? So it wants me to move my knight back?
So where is g3?
Oh, where I just put my pawn. Well, I disagree. What would that do?
I mean, it's just about like it's the only move that any of your knights can take to move forward at all, because now they're both completely stuck.
Right. They make those bones sound really yummy, don't they? That popping is them chewing in the background. Is this why chess games just take for friggin' ever? Because people are going over all the possible moves that they could make or that they should make or that they can
This is
make.
also why chess games are timed.
Right. So that doesn't happen?
Yeah. Like Northern Lion plays a lot of 10-minute chess, so each player only gets 10 minutes.
Huh. 10 minutes total or?
No, per side. So like it's your turn right now, your
Right.
timer would be ticking down.
Oh, right on. And I would have 10 minutes to make a move?
No, you would have 10 minutes, and then once your 10 minutes is up, you forfeit the game.
Oh, but that's what I just said. 10 minutes total, and you said no.
Well, 10 minutes per side. Technically, it's 20 minutes total.
Mm-hmm. That was the inaccurate answer to make me confused. That led to
Okay.
my confusion.
Well, your question needed to be more clear then.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
I said 10 minutes total. That meant that the game, while yes, 20 minutes, but if you're playing it concurrently, they're not playing it consecutively. So it's not like I get 10 minutes and then he gets 10 minutes. That's consecutively. They're playing 10 minutes concurrently. So that happens at the same time. So it's a 10-minute game, right?
But the whole game takes 20 minutes.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
What do you mean?
How can the whole game take 20 minutes?
Because each player gets 10 minutes. 10 plus 10 is 20.
Does not seem accurate.
So like there would be right now there would be a timer on your side and on
Yeah.
his side, and when it's your turn to play, your timer would be ticking down, and when it's his turn to play, his timer would be ticking down. But they don't share time.
Hmm.
They are two separate timers, and if anyone's timer goes down to 0, they forfeit.
So they're playing concurrently.
I feel like you keep using that word.
I know exactly what concurrently means, and it's not consecutive. They don't have 10 consecutive minutes following one another. It's they're playing it at the same time. Yes, my timer would stop and his timer goes when he's playing, but we're not playing 10 minutes consecutively,
But that's also not what concurrently means. Concurrently would be going at the same time.
which is what they're doing.
No, because the other guy's timer doesn't go when you're going, so it's not concurrent.
Consecutively.
Yeah, concurrent is two things happening at the same time, but his timer doesn't go when yours goes.
I stand firm.
That's fine. Literally, the definition of concurrent is existing, happening, or done at the same time.
But they are playing at the same time. His timer is stopping while the opponent is playing, and his time doesn't, you know, go out while he's not playing, but they're not playing. he's not playing 10 minutes and then he's not playing 10 minutes. It's a give and take of concurrently.
Okay,
What?
sure.
I don't think you're right.
This is a weird hill to die on, but be my guest.
Hmm. Didn't say I was dying on it. That is the way my brain thinks of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you're still being very dismissive.
Well, because you're using the term concurrently incorrectly.
But it is happening at the
Like
same
technically their
time.
turns are consecutive because like you go, then he goes, which is literally the definition of consecutively.
Hmm.
Basically, it's a 20-minute game, and each player only gets 10 minutes to play.
Which makes it, I have to make a decision faster and live with the consequences.
Yeah. And there's like bullet chess, which is 2 minutes aside,
That sounds terrifying.
which is crazy fun to watch. But I could never play it because I'd just make awful choices the whole time.
0. She almost done with that?
No.
She's giving me that look like, what? I'm not doing anything. Yeah, queen can't go anywhere. Farts and farts and farts and farts. And farts and farts and farts. I don't want to move you. Oh, another inaccuracy. Well, now why did he just move his rook over there? Bishop to a3.
To back up the queen.
Oh, he wanted to move my c-file bishop. I could castle kingside, couldn't I?
You could now castle kingside.
And would there be a benefit to doing that?
I don't think so, but I'm also not a chess grandmaster, so.
Well, no, neither am I.
I mean, it would get your rook to the f file, but I don't know that that pawn needs any backup.
Right? My pawn needs backup. What's going on, Isabel?
She has unrolled hers.
She does that all the time. It makes me crazy. Mostly because then she just like swallows whole parts of it. I feel like there's not a lot of moves I can make here.
What are you trying to accomplish?
I don't know.
Like I think that's the answer you need and that's the question you need to answer first. Because right now you're just sort of playing pieces to play pieces, and you don't really have a game plan of what you're trying to do. Right?
Right.
And so I see a couple moves that could be decent.
Mm-hmm.
The knight's not a terrible one now that your bishop's in place. I see a rook move that's not awful.
Jesus. Oh. She's now standing on top of the bone. What are you?
You're wandering off camera there.
I know I was wandering off to look at my dog. I never seem to get this right. That's worse. Oh, that's better. Parts. So is a good. So moving this knight would not be a good idea because that just frees up that queen to march down and whatever.
How do you figure?
I don't know.
See, those are the questions. It's like you say these things, but you don't know why you're saying them. You need to figure out why you're saying them first.
Well, so if I move my, so I'm looking at moving my knight. No! Sorry, I said that because I don't want to accidentally move my knight in that position if I don't really want to. So I was thinking about doing that and taking that pawn.
Hmm.
And then, oh, I guess it wouldn't necessarily open up that queen to go anywhere because my queen is here. So is my knight, right? Up 1/2.
Well, so look at the where that queen is, and where can that queen go?
She can move diagonally, which would
So
then
let's start one space at a time. What if she moved into B3?
into B3. Then my pawn could take her, which would be
Right.
super dumb.
And what if she moved to A2?
Then my rook could take her.
Right. So then let's go the other direction.
Okay. And she's
What
not
if
going
you
to
moved
move.
to what if you moved to D3?
Well, then my queen could take her.
Yep.
So she's not.
And what if it took your knight at E2?
Oh, at E2? Well, then my king would take her the next turn or my queen.
Yeah.
So she's not
So
going anywhere.
yeah. And so what if you moved your knight and it moved into your knight spot?
Well, then my queen
C3.
could take her.
Yeah.
So she's not going anywhere.
So the queen is not your threat.
Right.
So what else could happen if you take that pawn?
So if I move my pawn here, well, this knight, it's F file knight, couldn't because over one. Oh, it could. It could take my knight,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. What else is attacking that square?
Oh, my bishop. So it's protected by my bishop.
Correct.
Because if he took my knight with his knight, then my bishop could take his knight, but then nothing could attack my bishop because nothing is lined up to.
Correct.
So that's a good move.
Yes. At the very least, it's an even trade. Well, it's not an even trade because you're getting an extra pawn out of it.
Oh, interesting. Oh, well, that just said it was knight to e4 was an inaccuracy.
That's funny.
Bishop to
Why did you move your
a3.
bishop? Which is a weird move. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Why would I move it there? It's not couldn't go anywhere until I move that pawn.
I don't know. But it is interesting that he moved his knight out of the way from your knight instead of somewhere more attackish. I don't know.
Hmm. Pardon me.
So I'm assuming the reason why it wanted you to move your bishop to A3 is
Hmm.
to back up that pawn or to protect that pawn from the other knight.
Right on.
Is my guess. But it's also the computer and who the crap knows.
Right. Couldn't be. Oh no. It's only just out of reach. Down a block on a beach. Under
Less
a
singing, more chessing.
tree. I am chessing while I sing. Can't help that musicals pop into my head. It's the way I was born. I mean, not really. I mean, it's, 2 decades of theater. That's why I am the way I am. Just like I was singing that one line from Hamilton all week and all last week. Raise a glass to freedom. Breathing a sigh of relief now that
I'm pretty sure it's the only line you know from that song.
it is not the only line I know from the song. Like if you put the song on, I could probably sing along just fine. It's just the
It's
only
the
one.
only line you say from the song.
So it's a good line. Raise a glass to free. We need to watch that on Disney.
You can do whatever you would like.
You don't want to watch it?
Not even a little bit.
Why?
Yes.
You're such a weird theater person. Who doesn't like watching shows.
Yeah.
But you, no, I can't say that's true because you went to see Monty Python, the Holy Grail, and you like that, didn't you?
Yes.
And
It was a fun show.
you like Full Monty.
Yeah, but I would never go to it if I didn't have to.
Oh, you were in it.
I was in it. I also designed it.
Shoot. All right, I gotta get this party started somehow, right?
Yeah. Man, it just wanted you to do that so badly.
I've made the computer happy. Well, and it also thinks that the computer is going to move his knight back. And it wants me to move my queen here. Why would I move my queen there? Because then that just, well, not, then it just opens, yeah, but then my rook is guarding, so never mind. That's fine. All right, she's
I'm assuming
finished
it
her bone.
wants to initiate a queen trade, which I don't know. For newer players, I think is always a little rough.
Isn't like the queen the best piece in the game because she can go anywhere?
Yep.
As it should be. What, Isabel? I could castle.
You could castle. Now you can castle queenside.
Right? But I'm not certain what that really serves no benefit right now at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Hmm. Oh, but I would have to move this pawn, right?
To what?
Well, to move it out of the way of the queen, because she can't.
You would have to do that, yeah.
It's a weird game. I don't like it. I feel like other games were more straightforward. So when you're playing, like, what are you like? How do you play?
Yes. What do you mean?
Well,
Reactively is how I play.
oh, hello, hey, Aaron. Thanks for tuning in or just passing by. Thanks for the like. We're giving it one more day of the chessing. Hi, sweet dog. My dog walks over the cord to my headphones. What are you doing? She's under my desk now. Her little tail is wagging up by my keyboard. What are you doing under there? You don't get another one. Isabel is chewing hers and you ate yours. Isabel. Now she's between my legs looking up at me like, but Mom, I want something to chew now too. You already had something, you hog. Yeah, my cute dog. Help. Do I move a pawn? Do I like,
I don't know. What do you do?
well, there's not a whole lot to do.
There's a ton of things to do.
Oh, my forking fork. Fork.
Speaking of forks, there's a knight move you can make that forks their knight or bishop.
Working on my night moves. Old Bob Seger there. The silver bullet band. Well, it's not this night because he's can't go a whole lot of places, and you said it would fork up the bishop and their knight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so this bishop is moving decidedly in this direction or this direction, provided this pawn were no longer there. So I'm assuming you mean the path of his G file knight and his D file bishop, because this other bishop ain't going anywhere unless he moves a pawn, and he's still not going anywhere.
So where would you move a knight to attack both that knight to your right and that bishop?
Ooh, F6.
So what would happen if you moved your knight to F6?
Um, oh, the pawn would take me.
Correct.
So that's a negatory on that Ghost Rider. So I can't move to F6 because either of those pawns could take me, and that is a poor trade.
Yep.
And I can't move my.
Well, technically, it wouldn't even be a trade because you wouldn't be trading anything.
No,
you're just
taking my yeah, just be taking my knight. And if I move my knight to the D file or D6, it's a similar situation with the pawn.
Mm-hmm.
If I move my knight to C5, I mean, technically the queen can go back, right, and take my knight.
You could. What would happen if the queen did that?
She would be here. Oh, then my pawn could take her, so that would be dumb.
Correct.
Um,
Who does your knight threaten if you move it to C5?
it threatens this knight in A6 and the bishop in D7. D yeah, D7, right?
Correct. Yep.
So this is the move right here.
Yeah. It's not a good move. It's going to yell at you about it, but it gets things moving and it means you can trade pieces.
Okay. Oh, that is a mistake.
Yeah, I told you.
B5 is best.
And now you should eat that.
With a pawn, right?
Yeah.
Which pawn,
I don't know. Pick one.
though? Well, if I move this pawn, it kind of frees up my bishop. And if I move this pawn,
Well, come here. Zero. What are you doing? Little scavenger.
she's a scavenger. Oh, we're moving now. Queen took my pawn. Farts.
Yeah, that was not the pawn I would have used for that
Oh,
exact
okay.
reason.
Well,
But it's good for it to happen because next time you'll.
be more aware.
Yeah.
Right on. Right on. Right on. And she's probably not going to take my bishop because it's guarded by my rook, correct?
Correct.
Farts and farts and farts and farts. I don't necessarily want to move my queen. Oh, farts, honey. Wants me to move my knight.
If you had moved
Oh,
the
right.
way that it told you to,
Right.
which is the way that I would have done,
But I didn't.
but you didn't.
I didn't. Oh, it thinks I should move my bishop back. But then doesn't that then leave my rook open?
How does it leave your rook open?
Well, couldn't the queen just come down and put my king in check and take my rook?
So you should pay more attention to where it wanted you to move your bishop, because I think you missaw.
No, I didn't. In the top line, the queen is where it is now.
Hmm.
Then the next move is bishop to b2. It wants me to move my bishop back.
Yeah.
But then does that open up the a file for the queen to jump down and take my rook and put my king in check?
And what would happen if her queen went to a1
Um,
with your bishop on
oh, with my
b2?
bishop on b2, then yeah, then my bishop would take the queen.
Correct.
Threaten the queen with my knight.
Well, that's not bad either.
So this move,
Hmm.
hero. Right here. What are you, honey? There's nothing under there. Walking on my cord again. Oh, it wanted me. Well, it said it was best. It said
Wanted you to castle kingside,
castle kingside.
but that was a good move. Yeah.
And he moved his bishop there. Oh,
What?
yeah. He's either making a way to come this way because he can't keep going to the H file because his knight's in the way.
So the real question is what are you going to do about her queen?
Oh, can I take it with my knight?
Isn't that why you put your knight there?
Yes. Right. Thank you.
You're probably going to lose a pawn out of this, but I don't know. I don't know what that.
Bishop
It's
is
an
doing?
interesting move from the bishop, yeah, because it doesn't back anyone up, and you don't have any. You don't have a lot of important pieces hanging out on white squares. So
No,
like,
I don't.
that's a bizarre move.
Oh.
I would hope that's best, because that puts you way up in material. You're not technically +8 in material,
Oh,
because queens are worth a lot.
right on. What's going on over here on this FGH side? FGH side. Farts and farts. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh, what? Castle Queenside. Get the hell out of Dodge. How do I? Oh, with here my rook.
I would not castle queenside.
What about castling kingside?
I mean, what? So right, we're now back in that point in the game where what are you trying to do? What's your objective?
Trying to take pieces. I can't take any pieces right now. I mean, I could. I could take that pawn, but then that pawn would take my knight, and that would be dumb. Hi, sweet dog. So I would take my pawn. Can't move those pawns. They're all stuck there. Can't really move my g-file bishop anywhere safe, right?
I mean, you set up your g-file bishop so that if that knight ever moves, you can trade bishops.
Well, why would I? Well, how would I do that?
I don't know. How would you do that?
Set up my bishop to
Mhm.
change it with the knight.
So what you want to do is you want to lock pieces in so that if they ever move, you get free pieces.
Okay.
So where could you put your bishop so that if some of those pieces decide to move, you get free pieces? Or you could just set up to trade a bishop for a knight, which is not a terrible trade.
I don't see how I would do that because his knight couldn't move to take my bishop
Correct.
unless I moved it back.
Why are you worried about his knight taking you?
Well, isn't
Because
that what
that's
you
not
were?
at all what we were talking about.
Well, yeah, wasn't it?
No.
You
I was talking
said,
about you taking the knight.
well, there, how, what? Was I can move my bishop here
Hmm.
and no one can take me, right?
Yeah.
Which then sets up me to take the knight and the bishop to take my bishop, right?
Yeah.
Or worse, the pawn to take my bishop.
So that's what's known as a trade. When you get a piece of equal or greater value.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why did he move his rook over there?
To protect the A file.
Bishop to b2. Wants me to move this bishop back.
0.
She's trying to
Well,
take Isabel's.
no, they're just scavenging.
Oh, they are done. Took them about an hour. Oh, okay, fine. Hmm. Now what?
I don't know. Now,
Uh-huh. Well, none of my pawns can do anything. Raise a glass. Wants me to move my queen out, a1 to b2. Start pawn hunting.
it's a decent idea, but the problem is that the counter to that is him just moving his rook to
Right.
B or B8. Yeah. which he may not do, and then you get a free pawn out of it.
So once it thinks I should move my queen here.
Probably for the same reason. Although I don't know that I would get your queen out of there, because right now your queen is sort of protecting your rook, your H-file rook.
Right.
Make it over there, Sleepy.
I wish I would not wake up at 5 in the morning. That would be great. I would like to not be up at 5 in the morning.
Let's go back to sleep. Works for me.
Well, we are not the same. What is it? ER to B1?
Yes, ER, the most famous of chess moves.
Farts. To B1. Oh, you're just talking about moving the rook over one, right?
That's not what I was talking about. It's what Aaron was talking
No,
about.
I know. That's what I just said. It was Aaron was talking about moving the rook to B1.
Yeah.
You were talking about not moving my queen.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Well, then what's left to move? None of my pawns can do anything. Right?
Yeah. So if your pawns can't do anything, stop looking at the pawns.
Ah! Well, there's not a whole lot to do with my bishop. I'm not moving my knight. You're yawning. I'm yawning. We're all yawning. If you make no move, you already lost. Thanks, Aaron. You are correct. You need to make a move. What?
Thanks, Sun Tzu.
You're just now reading his comment? I just said his comment. So don't look at the pawns. So the pieces that I have left, I don't see a point in moving my king anywhere. And my rook is kind of just hanging out. There's not a lot of point in moving my bishop or my knight. So that leaves me with the queen. And I guess, like, if I moved her, oh, what about this move? She's not,
What purpose does that serve?
well, it essentially threatens the king because then I could move her here, right?
You could, and what would happen if you moved her there?
Well, then the king would take me
Right.
immediately.
Yep.
So that's not a good move.
Correct.
I don't know what is. I feel like there are no good moves right now at the way everything is.
I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. There are a couple that set you up for future moves,
I hate setups.
which is ultimately the entire point of chess.